All right, so let's do some muting, all downstroke rhythms. We're going to find that all over the place in music. You know, you're going to find that some songs mix the downstrokes with the strum patterns or whatever. But what we can do as well is learn a little bit of dynamics. And what that is we're going to get a little bit more emphasis on some chords than others. So we're going to have a 2-for-1 special. We're going to have how to be dynamic, and we're also going to keep working on that chord progression in different spots of the neck. So we got. All right, so let's zoom in for a closer look. All right, so we're going to take this F sharp minor chord. It's on the 2nd and 4th fret on our E position, bar chords, right? So this finger is not down, it's off. And then we're going to go to an open position D chord. And I'm going to play an A, but I'm just going to do that one finger version again. Because when we mute, oftentimes we're really only muting the top couple of strings. Right now, I'm going to throw in a couple of stabs in there, right? That kind of a thing where we're going to hit more of the actual chord itself. But what we're going to do is we're going to take what we were doing before, use this part of our hand again, and now we're just going to gently set it, you know, about where the strings come out. If you have an acoustic, this white part right in front of that, or the metal saddles where the strings come out of on an electric, if you're playing an electric, just right in front of there. And you'll notice you can still hear the sustain of the string, right? Now if I bring that a little forward, right, it really starts to deaden out the string the farther forward we get until it basically doesn't sustain at all. So we want to be to where we can hear the chord. Right? So what I'm doing is I'm hitting the top 2 strings, and I'm just doing all downstrokes. So just take this one chord and hit the top 2 strings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we'll switch to a next chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? We keep that really slow. Now when you speed it up, right? When we actually do the chord progression itself, I'm going to hang on that A for 2 rounds of 8. But just for practicing, just go, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and really get a feel for it. And then when you do the actual progression, just do A twice. So what we're also going to do is we're going to start to incorporate some dynamics. So we can go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can start to incorporate that sort of thing where on some of the strokes, like 3 and 7 and 8, right there, I would let up the mute. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. And it does the same kind of thing that the muting did, where it starts to establish kind of a groove or a pulse to the music, right? Because you're changing the sound a little bit. You have this real percussive, and then you have something ringing through, and then you bring it back immediately with something percussive again. So you start to get more of a dynamic sounding chord progression. Now we can do that same thing, but since we've used the E version of the F sharp minor chord, let's use the A version, and it's going to be down on the 9th fret. Right? We've already done that E minor chord, in the last progression. So if we just scoot that chord up a whole step, you went from E, F to F sharp. And then we're going to go down to D, which is going to be the 5th fret and the 7th fret, but we're going to do that major version of the chord. Right? And then we're going to go back to the E version of the chord on the E string and do an A chord. We're going to do a major version, right? Same exact thing. Now, you may have noticed when I went to that D chord as well, you don't have to play the whole chord. So what I did was I used what's called a 5 chord, and we'll get into that later, but I just am only hitting the top 2 or 3 strings anyways. So I just used my 3rd and 4th finger. I went A string, D string, G string, and then I kept that exact same shape because when I go up to the A, I'm actually going to need that exact same shape, and then I just put down my 2nd finger and I have that major chord. So we got So again, get those 2 progressions, right? They're the same chords but in different spots, and get those underneath your fingers, and you'll start to realize that, you know, the guitar looks big, right? And that there's a lot of notes, but they repeat themselves, and it's really not that big of a gap in between the chords all over the neck. So wherever you are in the neck, you have a lot of those chords accessible in a very small area, right? Within 4 or 5 frets, you can get to any of the chords that you want to, no matter where you're at. So it definitely will be to your advantage to practice all the chords from here on out that you can all over the neck in the different spots, whether it's the E or the A version of the bar chord. So now you got downstroke muting and kind of muting. Let's do another one.